The moment Claire pulled me into the dark corner outside the wedding hall, I thought my marriage was about to end. She glanced toward the security camera, grabbed my wrist, and whispered, "I've been waiting for this." My heart stopped, not because I wanted her, but because I knew exactly whose wedding ring was on my finger. Hers was my wife's best friend's hand, and mine was the hand that had promised my wife forever. Before we continue, if you believe people deserve second chances, that broken hearts can heal, and that kindness can change the direction of a life, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Sometimes the biggest lessons in life come from moments that look completely wrong from the outside. My wife, Hannah, and I had been married for 7 years. From the outside, our life looked ordinary and happy. We had a small house, steady jobs, Sunday dinners with family, and a collection of memories that could have filled an entire wall. But somewhere between paying bills, working late, and becoming comfortable with each other, we had stopped talking about what was happening inside our hearts. Hannah had become quieter. I had become busier. Neither of us was cruel to the other, we had simply become strangers who knew each other's routines. Then there was Claire. Claire had been Hannah's best friend since college. She was at birthdays, holidays, family dinners, and almost every important moment in Hannah's life. I trusted her because Hannah trusted her. Over the years, Claire and I had developed an easy friendship, but there had always been a respectful distance between us. I never imagined she carried feelings she had hidden for so long. The night everything changed was at a charity event organized by Hannah's company. There were hundreds of people inside the hotel ballroom, cameras mounted near the entrances, music playing softly, and people laughing beneath bright chandeliers. Hannah was busy speaking with her coworkers while I stepped outside to answer a phone call. When I returned, Claire was standing near the hallway, watching me. She looked nervous. Before I could ask what was wrong, she walked toward me and quietly said she needed to talk somewhere private. I followed her toward a service corridor. That was when she pulled me past a pillar, directly into the blind spot of a security camera. Then she grabbed my wrist. "I've been waiting for this," she whispered. For a second, I couldn't move. Claire looked into my eyes, and I saw tears gathering in hers. She told me she had loved me for years. Not because she wanted to destroy my marriage, but because somewhere along the way, her feelings had grown beyond friendship. She said she had tried to bury them because Hannah was her best friend and I was her husband. She had watched us grow apart and convinced herself that one day the feelings would disappear. They hadn't. I pulled my wrist away gently and told her she couldn't say those things to me. Not there. Not ever. She cried harder and said she wasn't asking me to betray Hannah. She only wanted me to know the truth before she disappeared from our lives. Then she said something that changed everything. She told me Hannah already knew. I thought she was trying to manipulate me, but Claire shook her head. She said Hannah had discovered her feelings months earlier. Instead of confronting her, Hannah had quietly blamed herself. She believed Claire was falling for me because Hannah had become emotionally distant and had failed to notice how lonely I was. I walked back into the ballroom feeling like the floor had shifted beneath me. Hannah was standing near the stage, smiling at someone, completely unaware that my entire understanding of my marriage had just cracked open. When she saw me, she smiled the same familiar smile that had once made my heart race. But this time I noticed the sadness behind it. That night, after we returned home, I asked her if she was happy. She stared at me for a long time before answering. She said she didn't know anymore. Those words hurt more than any accusation could have. We sat in our living room until nearly sunrise. For the first time in years, we talked without defending ourselves. Hannah admitted she had felt invisible. I admitted I had been so focused on being a good provider that I had forgotten how to be a good husband. She told me she had watched Claire struggle with her feelings and had secretly feared that one day I would leave her. I told Hannah I had never wanted Claire. But I also told her something harder. I had missed her. I had missed the woman who used to call me just to hear my voice. I had missed our stupid jokes, our late-night conversations, and the way she used to reach for my hand while crossing the street. We decided not to pretend everything could be fixed in one conversation. For the next several months, we worked on our marriage. We went to counseling. We ate dinner without phones. We took walks after work. We learned to ask questions instead of making assumptions. Slowly, the walls between us began to fall. Claire left town. She sent Hannah one letter before she left, apologizing for crossing a line and admitting that sometimes loving someone meant accepting that you could never have them. Hannah cried while reading it, but she forgave her. A year later, Hannah and I renewed our vows in our backyard. There were no cameras. No expensive decorations. No crowd. Just the two of us, standing beneath the old tree where we had once promised forever. Hannah held my hands and told me she finally understood something. Love wasn't about never being tempted, never being hurt, or never drifting apart. Love was about noticing when the distance appeared and choosing to walk back toward each other. And I realized that night in the camera blind spot had almost destroyed my life, but it had also forced me to see what I had stopped seeing. Sometimes the person standing closest to us is the one we have forgotten to truly look at. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps these stories reach people who may be silently fighting their own battles. And before the story ends, I want you to comment one word: second chance. Because sometimes a second chance isn't about finding someone new. Sometimes it's about finally learning how to love the person you already promised not to give up on. Hannah still keeps Claire's letter in an old wooden box. Not because she wants to remember the pain, but because it reminds her of something important. People can make mistakes without being completely bad, marriages can become broken without being completely over, and hearts can wander without always needing to follow where they lead. As for me, I never forgot that sentence in the hallway. I've been waiting for this. At the time, I thought those words were the beginning of the end. Years later, I understand they were the beginning of a truth we had both been avoiding, the truth that our marriage didn't need a new person. It needed two people who were willing to find each other again.